I've been having some banger matches in WWE 2K26, and it's really all because of my sliders. I mean, the gameplay is nice and whatever, but the sliders have definitely gave my gameplay experience a bigger boost, and a lot of you guys have been asking me, when am I going to drop the gameplay sliders? So we're here today doing that. But before we get into all that, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to show some love to the channel. We are on our way to 25K subs. Let's go on ahead and get into it. All right, man, we're here. So the one thing that we want to go on ahead and do is with the difficulty, I like to play on Legend. But the reason why I like to play on Legend is because I play the game a lot and it is something that I am pretty decent at, not to brag or whatever, but Legend to me is probably the best difficulty that you are probably going to get. The weight detection. When you look at the weight and strength of a superstar, I think you want to leave that on simulation. If you leave it on arcade, you're probably going to have wrestlers just doing whatever it is that they want to do throughout the game. So I would leave it for that because you don't want a skinny wrestler lifting up a wrestler like Mark Henry, in my opinion. Stamina, you can go on ahead and turn it on infinite, normal, whatever you want to do, because as we know, stamina does play a massive role in this year's game. I don't know if I want to leave it on infinite personally, but it is one of those things that you can still balance out throughout the actual sliders of the game. So just my 2 cents with that. Submission mini game, we want to leave that on either rapid or slider. I don't know which one is honestly best, so I just keep it on rapid because it's very, very rare that I want to end a match with a submission anyway, unless the wrestler just happens to have that type of finisher. I like leaving it on timed. And with the pin mini game with the first count lock, I used to use this in the past, but now I don't, because I feel that at this point in time, it's just not something I really want to do. You can make it harder or whatever, and it also takes away the not selling the finisher, because basically what it does is you can't kick out till after the ref counts 1. So just, I'm not too crazy about that. Trade and blows, chain wrestling, 100% we're going to keep that on because that just breaks up the flow of the match. And things like auto reversal for ground attacks, I like to have off. I don't know why that was on, but you can definitely mess with a lot of this stuff. Stun meter, you can have that on. Danger effect, you can obviously have that on if you are playing a match where you're going to get knocked out or whatever the case may be. Blood, we'll leave that on. Tutorial tips, subtitles, off, obviously, for me. But a lot of these things, man, we like to go on ahead and touch them up because, again, it completely changes the gameplay experience. You want to allow match start actions. You want to go on ahead and leave the spectators for the underground match. A tag team interruption debuff, I personally like that on because there's no reason why I'm going to have wrestlers coming in trying to break up the pin after every single pin attempt. So we'll leave it with the debuff. And honestly, ring escape can go on ahead and be allowed, but instant recovery, we're 100% going to leave off. I don't want to mess with that. So that's really just the general base of gameplay settings for me. If you guys want to have a similar experience, I would go on ahead and recommend copying these. And if you are, for example, not a fan of the rapid effect, which I just seen this setting, you can just go on ahead and use held input where the game will automatically do that for you, which actually I'm going to keep that on because it was off before. So let's go on ahead and get into the next thing. So for the presentation, the gameplay camera, I'm not going to lie, bro. I was really doing ramp facing all year long last year, and I'm kind of bored of it at the moment. So I'm just with the default one. So it's really up to you. That's all personal preference, and the proximity, I kind of leave it at that for right now, even though you can leave it at global and it'll show like the whole scrapyard, even though like you may look super far in the scrapyard. So again, I would just be careful with that. If you're gonna do anything like scrapyard, I would just recommend using the third-person camera. Superstar HUD, I leave on. This is all, again, realism thing. So if you decide that you want to actually go on ahead and turn this all off so your game looks as real and just the simulation looks as good as possible, then cool as well. You know what I'm saying? The camera cuts for taunts, this is where they go on ahead and zoom in on you. I have that off at the moment, but if I were to have it on, I would probably leave it at sometimes, you know, because you know how when a wrestler taunts in real life, they don't do that and zoom in on them, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's kind of like, okay, at some important moments throughout the match, you may get a nice low vibe for it. Camera cuts, I leave them on at sometimes because obviously camera cuts, if you're trying to get the real simulation of what the game is, you leave that on. Super finisher VFX, that is off, like 100% off. We're not gonna go on ahead and keep that on. Controller vibration, I know some people like to play with the vibration because of the chain wrestling. I don't like vibration. I've honestly been turning off vibration for like 10 years now, so I don't like vibration with any video game. That's just my 2 cents. And if you're on PlayStation, I hate the trigger effect, and I hate the fact that it actually comes on online for me because it doesn't really affect that. I wish that I could just go on my PlayStation and just turn off the trigger effect as a whole, because I hate when my triggers just stiffen up out of nowhere. I really do. So that's just it. Now, when we get into the balancing, strike reversal rate, this was a little bit tricky, right? Because I want the AI to be as good as possible, right? But not to the point where I'm not doing anything or can't get any of my spots off in a match, because a lot of the reason why I like playing these games is because I can do spots. I can just do crazy stuff. Now you get to stack tables, you got ragdoll, you got a whole lot of stuff, so you don't want the AI to reverse you every single time. But I have it at 70 out of 100 at the moment. That's where I felt that I got a happy medium, and I know some people are already complaining that the AI reverses too much. So I completely understand if you're looking at me right now like, what the hell are you doing? Now, we also have the reversal rate at 65 out of 100 for grapple. Ground strike reversal rate 62 out of 100. I felt like I wanted it at 65, but I felt like maybe that's a little too high. So again, I try to bring up everything for the reversal rate of the AI because I just really want a good match in general. The AI finisher reversal rate 45. I'm not gonna lie, they've reversed the finishers way too much. And one thing as well for me is I don't want to just be hitting a wrestler over and over again with a chair or a kendo stick, a hammer, whatever the case may be. I don't want to continuously do that and give the AI a chance to go on ahead and reverse. So we left it at that. I try to up everything just a little bit in my opinion, and that's just really where I'm at with that. With the AI submission rate, I put this down from 50 to 30 because I'm like, bro, I don't like doing submissions as it is in my matches. So nah, we not doing that. So we went ahead and lowered that. The dive rate, I actually went ahead and brought that down just a tad bit because let's be honest, y'all, these wrestlers are not doing tons of dives. They're not doing tons of springboards, and that's just that. But the grapple rate, the strike rate, I actually brought that up to 60 out of 100. Limb targeting rate, 60 out of 100 as well. I kept the running attack at 50 because they already like to run at you off rip, so I'm not going to go on ahead and bring that up in the first place. Dodge rate, I put that up just a tad bit again, so I'm just facing a challenge when I'm playing the AI because I find myself playing the AI a lot during universe mode and exhibition, and sometimes I don't want to play online. I just want to play by myself and vibe, so I want to give myself the best difficult experience that's almost sort of balanced. So I kind of tweaked a lot of these things in the AI's favor with that. So again, these sliders, I can understand that they're not going to be for everybody, but you can always take my balancing and equip it with, you know, normal difficulty and see how that feels for you in the end. The trade and blows rate, this is something that is super, super rare in real life. So I decided to lower this so it's not going to happen as much. And that's just something I wanted to do. Entrance, mid-match, post-match, I put that at 0 out of 10. I know that now they have like a whole rivalry thing with exhibition where you can get cutscenes and things like that, but I honestly just don't care to see that in exhibition. I have universe mode for that. And again, I know that some people do enjoy that aspect of it, but it's not something that really gets me, so we're just gonna leave that there. Referee downtime, I want the referee knocked down as long as possible if the referee gets hit with anything, so that's just where I'm at with that. Superstar downtime, we're gonna keep that at 45 out of 100, so I actually brought that down just a tad bit just because I feel that sometimes the wrestlers can stay down just a tad bit too long, and I really feel that that's unnecessary in my opinion. Basic reversal windows, I actually brought this down to 35 from 50 because again, I want a challenge while I'm playing these games, and I still feel that 35 is still a little bit easy for me, but I feel that if I go down anymore, it's just going to be a tough time trying to reverse the AI. Signature and finisher reversal for myself, when the AI hits me with a finisher, I actually want to see myself kind of struggle to reverse that. So I left that at 40 out of 100. And the stamina cost, when performing actions such as attacks or climbing the top rope, I didn't turn the stamina to infinite, so I actually was able to balance it out a little bit with this, and I felt that it felt a little bit better. Now, if you feel that the stamina is messing up, you know, what you're doing or your experience, I just recommend putting it on infinite and just moving on with your life at that point. But the stamina cost, I brought it down just a little bit because I don't want my stamina to just go down just because I'm doing good in in the match, you know? So I kept that at 40. The recovery rate, I brought this up because I don't want my stamina taking me out of the match for too long, neither for myself or the AI. Rollout frequency, we left this at around 35 to 100. I brought this down just a little bit. I didn't really want that too high. Rollout duration, kept it the same. Feeding frequency, increase or decrease how often superstars will recover to positions on the top rope. So brought this down just a little bit, and you can honestly either bring that up, bring that down, however you want. You can kind of just go on ahead and see what really helps you in the end. I'm just somebody that I prefer to see it just a little bit down. The stun gain, I brought this down because I don't want the stun meter to have too much of an influence in my match, especially now that we have that debuff. There's no reason for me to depend on the stun meter anymore. It's not a bad thing to have it, but I also don't want it to last as long, which is why I brought the duration down as well. The vitality, I don't really have too much of an issue with that, so I kept that pretty much the same in my opinion, and that's just that. And the pin kick out difficulty, I actually brought this up to 65 instead of 50 out of 100 because it makes it more challenging. The higher the setting, the more challenging it'll be to kick out. And this is not super challenging, but it also makes the match more intriguing when you get a crazy kick out when you think you're out of it. And the AI, I actually kept it at a 55 out of 100. So I brought it up about 5 points because if I hit the AI with 3 finishers, I want them to not kick out, right? Now, obviously, there's going to be a time where, you know, they are not going to kick out of maybe 1 or 2 finishers because this setting, the higher it is, the higher the AI is less likely to kick out. But one thing to keep in mind is that I play on Legend. So again, you don't want to make this too low either, and then you're just there in a banger of a match for however many minutes or whatever the case may be. So that's just my 2 cents with that. The AI difficulty damage scaling, this for me, it's kind of at the point where I increase it just a little bit to really magnify the effect, but it's not something that is, you know, a big deal to me. But we keep it at 56 out of 100. And again, it's an odd number, but I just felt like, okay, I kind of want this over 55 just for my mental sanity. So that's just where I'm at with that. The drag escape and the carry escape, 40 and 45, just to make it a bit harder. And as you know, you can always do the held input and all that. So again, that's just where I'm at with the balancing settings, and these settings do genuinely feel good. I'm having banger Hell in a Cell matches. I'm doing tons of stuff right now with these. Now, with the target setting, you can always do manual. I know that right now a lot of people are having tons of issues with the referees getting in their matches and things like that. So I kind of have it at semi-auto because it hasn't bothered me too much, but it does happen from time to time. So just my thing with the targeting and how I'm leaving it at the very moment. Now, for advanced recent finisher influence, I leave that at 60 out of 100. This counts towards the last finisher that you hit within the last few seconds. This goes to the pin meter, submission meter. So we have it at 60 out of 100. After 2 finishers, I brought it up just a little bit more. And after 3 finishers, we bring that up to 70 out of 100 because obviously it's going to be tougher. Signatures for players, I don't want that affecting the match too much because when do we ever see the match and then a signature in real life anyway? So I brought it up just a tad bit so it can have some influence, but it's not something that's going to make a massive difference throughout the match. For the AI, we make this actually a little bit lower than us, you know, because we also don't want to make it to the point where we're struggling to kick out after 3 finishers. But again, it's only right if you are. But for me, just from my experience, that is what we did with a lot of these things. We didn't go too crazy with them, but we also made sure that the AI and the player is just a bit balanced. That was my big thing. I wanted to up these sliders, but also make sure that it was balanced for everybody else. And the easy pin indicator flag speed, 35. This basically adjusts the speed of when a move is unlikely to end the match. So your meter is going to be a little bit bigger. The speed of this is going to be a little bit slower because obviously there's no reason to end the match on a move that you don't think you should be ending the match in. So the moderate pin indicator flag speed you see down there, adjust the speed of the indicator flag when the pin is challenging. So I brought this up to 60 out of 100 because I want a challenging pin as I'm playing. Adjust the speed of the indicator flag when the pin attempt could potentially end the match. I brought that up just a little bit more, and in situations that are unlikely to end the match, I brought it up to 75 out of 100 because I don't want to have that mistake or that error where I wasn't able to, you know, beat the match or whatever the case is. So there's a lot of these settings that are going to help you out, and they are going to influence the match a lot. And one thing that I've noticed while playing WWE 2K26, and pretty much ever since they brought the sliders, which I believe was in 24, These sliders improve the gameplay so much if you know what you're doing. Just speaking from personal experience, you're actually gonna like these settings a lot. The submission mini game, I went ahead and just tweaked this just a little bit because I feel that with the submissions and everything, I don't use them that much, you know, so I don't really care too much to really mess with them. But I went in there and I messed with them just a little bit for you guys and for what I was getting, you know, because this doesn't only affect, you know, submissions, it also affects ambulance mini games and submission and casket. So there's also a lot that goes into the submission mini games and all that. So you guys can go on ahead and go with these if you like. I felt that I've had a good experience with the ambulance matches because I have been playing that a lot more this year because of the ragdoll. So there is a lot of stuff with the submission mini game with that. And for the special guest referee, I haven't really done too much with this. Penalty for inaction, I actually brought that down to about 20. I kept pretty much everything very similar. Penalty for unfair actions, brought it down to 30 because with the special ref match, as you guys know, you know, if you have that specific setting turned on or off, it depends. You know, you can get kicked out the match, and I just didn't really want too much of a penalty if I am playing a special guest referee match, man. But these are my settings. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We got more 2K26 content coming your way. But nonetheless, though, yeah, I'm gonna get up out of here and go enjoy the game. Hopefully these settings help y'all out. Let me know down below if there's a change that you would make to the settings, or if you are enjoying the settings, or if my settings just didn't work out for you. Nonetheless, though, I'm gonna catch y'all. Peace.